Okay, equations is something you guys always forget, and it's something you're gonna have to know through all of your math classes. So we'll start with one, step equations. If I have x plus 2 equals 3, I'm gonna draw my wall. My wall means that there's two sides of my equation. There's this side, and then there's this side on the other side of the wall. They can't see each other. They're trying to get x by itself every time, or a variable, whatever the variable is. So I'm going to circle x. That's what I want by itself. What's in my way of that happening? Right now, x is on the same side with somebody, and I want him to get out of my way. They're on the same side with 2. Okay, I do not want 2. So if I have a positive 2, what do I do to get rid of a positive? You always do the opposite, so that's a negative. And you have to do the same thing to both sides. So I'm just going to rewrite. You can draw a line here if you want. I'm going to rewrite what I have. I didn't move my x at all, so my x is still here. 2 minus 2 is 0, so I don't write anything. I'm just going to cancel it out. Equals, what is 3 minus 2? Should be 1. So since I have my variable by itself and it equals a number, I'm good to go. That is my answer. Okay. You might have something that says x minus 3 equals 5. Again, both sides of my wall. I want x by itself, so circle x. What's in my way right now? The negative 3. How do I get rid of a negative? You do positive, so positive 3 on both sides. So again, if you want to draw your line, that's fine. X comes down, these canceled out, equals 8. Now, there's two others to think about. If you have something like 4x equals 8, I'm going to draw my wall. X is really attached to this number because he's super close. There's no addition or subtraction. So since they're right next to each other, really what it is multiplication. So if I want to get x by itself, what's the opposite of multiplication? It's division. So I have to divide by both sides. 4 divided by 4 is just 1, x equals 8 divided by 4 is 2, and I can do this if you want me to. Now, some people want to divide this 1 again, and that's fine, but really it's still just 1. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. X still equals 2 on both sides. Then you might get ones that have x over 4 equals 3. So x is now, I want to get it by itself. What's in my way? It's being divided by something. So what's the opposite of dividing? That would be multiplying. So I'm going to multiply both sides by this 4. And what that does is it cancels out my fraction. Remember to write it up high so you can cancel it out. And then x equals 12. So what you guys start doing is you start doing multiple steps in your head and trying to write it down multiple times because you're lazy. But then you start making mistakes. So I need you to write one step at a time, every single step. So let me talk about multi-step equations a little bit. Let's talk about 2 and 3 step first. What if I have 3x plus 2 equals, let's do 14. So now I have a little bit more to do. What I always want to look for is my variable, my x. Right now, 3 and x are like best friends. They're not separable until I get this other third best friend out of the way, okay? I want to move the plus or minus first if I have one. Always do the plus or minus first if you have it. So how do I get rid of a positive 2? Go ahead and do a negative 2 on both sides. So again, if I draw my line, I didn't touch my 3x. They're best friends. They can stay together for now. These canceled out, and I have 14 minus 2 is 12. Now it's just a one-step equation. I have x. He's being multiplied by 3, so I have to divide both sides by 3 to get rid of him, the opposite of multiplication. And x equals 4. So I'm going to move on to some multi-step equations. Multi-step means I have to do a couple different things to be able to solve them. So one of the things that I will have to do is this distributing. Here's my wall still. My wall is here. But sometimes on one side, I'll have a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be done first before I can start adding and subtracting. If it's in parentheses, you can't start adding and subtracting. You have to get it out of parentheses first. So what I want to do is do 7 times 9. In your calculator, 7 times 9 is 63. and I want to do 7 times 3x. So 7 times 3 in your calculator is 21x equals still 231. I didn't touch the 231 at all. So right now I have a two-step equation. It's nice and easy. Now that I've gotten rid of that mess up top, I'm going to go ahead and circle the thing with my x. Remember, they're best friends. I got to get rid of the other stuff first. So how do you get rid of a positive 63? Go ahead and do a minus 63. The opposite of adding is subtracting. Minus 63. If I draw my line, then I have 21x equals 231 minus 63, which is 168. One-step equation, I got to get x by itself. They are multiplying, so I have to divide. In the calculator, if you divide that by 21, you get 8. Another problem you might have to do would be combining like terms. So I don't have parentheses, but I have two variables, and that's a problem. I only want one variable. But lucky for us, we know how to combine like terms. I'm going to highlight, actually. Maybe that'll help. Negative 4x and positive 2x, those are like terms because they both have x's and they're both to the same exponent. So negative 4x plus 2x is negative 2x. I'm going to go ahead and do that first and bring everything else down. I'm not going to try to solve anything in the equation. I'm just going to combine my like terms. Then I'm going to go ahead and solve my equation. I got this by itself. So this is a positive 9. So how to get rid of a positive 9? Do a negative 9 on both sides. Now, the calculator will do this part for you. So do not try to put negative 15 minus a negative 9. That's not how it works. There is only two negatives. You should only use two negatives. In your calculator, type negative 15, or 15 negative, I guess is the order you put it in, minus 9. That gives you a negative 24. So only type what you see. Don't start adding a bunch of negatives because you think it's minus a negative or plus a positive, negative, whatever. Just type exactly what you see. Negative 15 minus 9. A negative 9 and a minus 9 are the same thing, so don't put it twice. Now that we have just one more step, they're being multiplied together, so I'm going to divide by the same thing. So x equals 12. The last kind of equation I'm going to do is going to be one with variables on both sides. So we're having some trouble with that when we did our post test the other day. So I'm going to still draw my wall. The problem is we have two x's again. If they were on the same side, like in my other one, then I could combine like terms. But this is not on the same side. These are on opposite sides of the wall. They cannot see each other, therefore they cannot combine together. So what you have to do is move it. Do you want to move the negative 4x or the 5x? And really, it does not matter. It's totally up to you. In this case, I'm going to move the 5x. So how do I get rid of a positive 5x? Same way as anything else, I do a negative 5x on both sides. Since it does have x's, I can't combine it with a 3 because a 3 doesn't have an x. So I have to combine it with the other x term. So I'm going to bring 3 down because I didn't really do anything with 3. What is negative 4 minus 5? So in your calculator, 4 negative minus 5 is negative 9x equals. This crossed each other out because 5 minus 5 is 0. And then negative 15 I never touched. Now that you've moved your variable first, now you have an equation that you know how to solve. I'm going to go ahead and circle the thing with the x. This is a positive 3, so I'm going to do minus 3 to get rid of it. So I have negative 9x equals negative 15 minus 3 is negative 18. I have to get x by itself, and they're multiplying. So I'm going to divide by 9, x equals, and if you do negative 18 divided by negative 9, you will get a positive 2. So those are the biggest type of equations that you'll see. You won't see anything too much different than that. The only thing that you might see that might throw you off is they're going to give you some equations like this. What would be 3x plus 4 all over 2 equals 10. So if you ever have a fraction over here, like a big fraction, you don't know what to do, get rid of your fraction, okay? See how the 3x, this is kind of like this in parentheses. You can't do anything with it if it's in parentheses first. And it's in parentheses because it's on a fraction. So what you need to do is go ahead and get rid of your fraction. Since they're dividing by 2, since this means dividing, what am I going to do to get rid of it? What's the opposite of dividing? And that would be multiplying. So when I multiply both sides by 2, always both sides, make sure to put it high so you can cross them out. They then cross out and I'm left with the top. 3x plus 4 equals 20. Now you can go ahead and do your two-step equation or whatever equation you know how to do to get the answer for this. So if you ever see one that has a big fraction like this, get rid of the bottom of that fraction first and then you can keep going as normal. Good luck with these ones. These ones are tough.